Okay, the air raid was somewhat successful, but not totally victoriously. The U.S. fleet is there, and it looks like they're going to stay. I'll explain later. Right now it's the U.S. turn, or should I say the Allied turn, with the U.S. They're not going to make a speed roll into Japan, but they are going to get as close as they can to Japan. And simply put, battleship, the carriers, and a cruiser. That squeezes Japan pretty bad. That's as far as I go with that. Now that both sides have played, it's time to find out if there's any points. So we're going to start with the U.S. mandate, where the Samoa attack was. The U.S. held the port of Samoa. Why? Right here. The Japanese did not take New Hebrides Island. Had they have done that, the U.S. would have to flee the mandate. And because they were all damaged and there was no other port to go, they would have been lost. It would have been a total Aegean victory. So the points go to the United States. The Allies get 2 points for that. So I'm going to move the marker. 2 points for the U.S. There we go. Okay, next. The Coral Sea. Originally owned by the Allies, they still have control of the islands. Therefore, they still have control of the Coral Sea. Had this been a patrol ship, it would have came close, but no seaguar of controlling the Coral Sea. Because these islands have got to be taken, Australia's got to be taken, and Port Moresby has to be taken. Cruel, unfair perhaps, but still in the U.S. favor. Originally owned by the U.S. and the Allies. So that's 2 more points, which brings the U.S. to 4. The Indian Ocean. Originally owned by the U.S. No one has taken it, no one has control of it. It saved the U.S. Originally U.S. property. Never challenged. The Allies get no points for that. The Bay of Bengal, still under Allied control. The Allies get 1 point. That brings it to 5. Indonesia, still in control of the Allies. 1 more point brings it to 6. Central Pacific Ocean, still under the control of the U.S. No points. Okay, that concludes the Allies' point of control. So let's go with the IGN and see what they get. Japan still holds Japan, of course, and the islands. And they get 3 points. So that brings the US down to 3. Japs are up 3. I hate that. I didn't mean to say Japs. I meant Japanese military. Okay. Alright, the Marianas. The Japanese military has complete control . Two. Down 2, up 2. There we go. It's now 1 for the Allies at this time. Okay, the South Pacific. We have Truk, obviously in control of the Japanese military. Unfortunately for Truk, we also have Port Moresby, or excuse me, Lae. No one controls the South Pacific at this time. Marshall Islands. The Japanese military get 1 point, which brings it back to 0. The Hawaiian Islands. Although they took Pearl Harbor, they do not have control of the Hawaiian Islands because Johnson Island has not been taken yet. Technically, it's still under United States control. However, no points for either side. So we're back to an even score, back to 0. Land-based aircraft have to return to a port or base. They are going to go to these islands here. The IGN fleet, as soon as I can get it to focus. There we go. If I can hold it still. We're going back to Pearl Harbor. rest of the fleet in the center will be going back to Pearl Harbor 2. They've got to finish the Samoan problem. The Marines, IJN amphibious units, will be going to Saipan. The rest of the Allied fleet, I've got to make sure that they can accept everybody. Some ports won't allow other nationalities. Okay. They go back to Saigon. And Ceylon. And that pretty much covers everything about Victory in the Pacific. It is the end of turn 2, and turn 3 will begin. Keep gaming.